Welcome to Beyond County Lines.
Today we're going to talk with the Santa Fe County Clerk's office.
Beyond County Lines, your community's flow. Santa Fe County updates everybody wants to know.
I'm Rosangela Ortiz, Deputy Clerk at the Santa Fe County Clerk's Office, Bureau of Elections.
Rosangela, tell us about your perritos.
Well, I have 4 perritos. They're all Shih Tzus. So Lola, Lily, Buck, and Poncho. And something that's really funny that people don't realize that, dogs understand our language, right? So my dogs only understand Spanish. So I had to teach them how to be bilingual. So I was like, vámonos, let's go. So now they know. And so, yeah, I have my 4 dogs, and the oldest is getting to be 10 or 12. So I'm like already sad in advance. But yeah, they're, they bring so much joy to everyone around them.
Let's see if you were paying attention. What were the names?
Pancho, Lily, ya me olvidé. Lola.
And Buck.
What about you?
Catherine Clark, the Santa Fe County Clerk. So I do a lot of fostering for the Española Humane Society.
That's awesome.
So right now I have Mama Kitty. She's my barn cat. She does not have any manners. And 3 baby kitties. And they all got ringworm. So we are learning the trials and tribulations of dipping in this horrible stuff that smells like sulfur, to get the fungus off them. And it takes the mama kitty about 3 days to even look at me after I've dipped her, because she just thinks it's like I'm dead to her. So but I think so that they have a good life, we need to, it's like they've had a upper respiratory infection. They've had, because they were found out in the barn,
That's
so
right.
the upper respiratory infection, they've had ringworm, and I'm, and I tend to do it during election season when I'm back from traveling. So that way I have something besides elections to obsess over. It's nice to have, kitties to talk to, and because they talk back. They are like, where's my food? And, and taking care of them. And, Española Humane is such a wonderful, and our local humane societies are so wonderful that, they make it really easy and very accommodating. And I, dutifully weigh them every day. And, so.
That's awesome. Didn't you get Echo at the Humane Society?
Santa Fe Animal Shelter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Olivia has a French bulldog, and it only understands French, right?
No, he speaks Spanish too.
He is bilingual.
Yes, there we go. Well, speaking of herding cats, we have tons of voting cats, right?
Yes.
Now at the Santa Fe County Clerk's office for the 2024 general election. Tell us what we can expect in the next couple weeks.
So we're used to having about, I think the first day, typically during the primary, was about 130 voters, and we had over 900 our first day. 900. So we actually brought in 2 extra ballot-on-demand systems so we could process more voters more quickly. I think yesterday we had almost 1,200 voters, so we're expecting the end of this week to be at 1,500, 1,600 voters. And then when expanded early voting, as you know, in New Mexico, first you start with the clerk's office, and then we expand to expanded early voting on October 19th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. We will have sites opening throughout the county. We're expecting quite a crowd interested in voting. This is a very high interest election, is what I will say.
Right.
We want folks to remember that even though we always say it's the most important election of your lifetime, whether or not you think that, always be polite to your poll workers. Always recognize we want you to vote. So if there's an issue, let us know. We are here to help you. We can answer the phones. We can answer your email. If there's any kind of issue at all, let us know, because we want to fix it and we want to make sure you can vote.
Are you expecting, since there's so many early voting going on, do you think that election day is going to be a little more calm?
No. We think we will. We think we're going to have a very high turnout election. I think in 2020, which was an election with similar high stakes, messaging around it, we saw 80%, 81% turnout, and we're expecting similar, if not more, amounts of voter turnout. Wow. Just to give you an idea, FQE, which is voters or UOCAVA voters who vote from abroad, typically we have 300 in an election. I think we're up to 1,500 people.
My gosh. Wow. Could you, we were talking a little bit beforehand, could you tell us a little bit about the programs? You're doing voting for kids. They can go inside the clerk's office and actually cast a vote for. What are they voting for?
So kids can basically practice, right? So we do have a sticker. It's the first time voter sticker. So we do have 2 sites where they can come vote, and they are voting for their favorite ice cream. They're voting for their favorite day of the week. And what else?
They're voting for their favorite search engine, which is always overwhelmingly Google. It's called an ice cream ballot. It's so that folks can, vote and then ask questions about it, right? Because typically, when you are doing a real election, you have to be nonpartisan. You can't answer questions about the ballot. The reason why we have chosen an, quote, ice cream ballot is so that the voters can ask questions about it and also ask, like, well, what does the tabulator do? What is this zero tape? What is this all about? So we really want, especially young first-time voters or kids who've never experienced voting before, to be able to come in, take their time, get a permit, cast their ballot, understand how the tabulator works, which is basically electronic abacus with on a giant Rubbermaid tub with wheels. That's what a tabulator is. And, kind of get a sense of the rhythm of voting. So it's going to be at the clerk's office whenever we have voting. So that's 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And then the last Saturday of early voting, that November 2nd. And then it's also going to be at Nancy Rodriguez. One of the things that we're really interested in is trying to get that site a little bit more active. It's on the south side. It's the Agua Fria neighborhood where we've seen less voters. And we're hoping to coax more voters to Nancy Rodriguez by having one half be regular voting with great parking and also a drop box, everybody. And then the other side would be for kids voting, where you can bring your family, practice voting, talk to the poll workers about how voting works, and then also get a sticker, right? We want our kids to know how easy it is to vote and to make them lifetime voters.
I love this program because growing up, I can't thank my mom enough for taking me to the polls, right? It's that intergenerational experience. That's how you learn and you get educated. But what a fun thing is to show up and see your county elected official and say, look, this is your ice cream ballot. Let's get you involved. You get a fun sticker. So bring your kids and come to the upcoming kids voting session.
And we're hoping to roll out this week, but we have had kids voting, and now the word is out. So we'll probably have a little coloring sheet about the life of your ballot, what happens to your ballot as you're voting, and some crayons. So we want kids to have to understand the steps that voting happens. It's also one of the ways in which we cut down on misinformation. There's a lot of misinformation out there, especially on social media. And I think when you have that tangible experience that you have seen it yourself in person, when people say things to you about voting, you're not necessarily going to believe them because you've seen it for yourself.
Right. I like that.
And could you tell us a little bit about, was it the poll workers that you wanted to discuss? Before you answer that question, do you have any pets?
Oh, yeah. And introduce yourself.
My name is Andrea Tapia, and I am the new Bureau of Elections Administration Supervisor. So it's been a really good experience so far. I started off with the county a couple years ago as the election worker outreach coordinator, and then was recently promoted. So it's been busy. It's been fun. I'm enjoying it. As far as pets go, I did have one puppy, but unfortunately he passed recently. So my kids, of course, thank you. My kids are like, Mom, when are we getting our next dog? I'm like, I really need to get through this next election season first.
Or you could bring them to some of our polling sites and adopt, because we're having adoption events. That's what our Pause to the Polls event is some of our infrequently used early voting sites will also feature in the parking lot in an adoption event. We're trying to partner with our community to talk about how voting is for everybody.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it might be a field trip day to Nancy Rodriguez where they can go vote, and they can also potentially get a new pup.
Tell us about the poll workers and how's that whole process for them volunteering? How do they sign up? And
Yeah, so we do have a lot of retention. I think we have over an 80% retention in our election workers. We're really proud of that. And when I first started, it was right after COVID. And so due to that, we lost a lot of election workers. And so reestablishing all of that, retention and those relationships that we built with election workers, it took time. But now we have so many people applying. We have an online application. We do voter outreach programs. We're working on the weekends to attend Pride and Juneteenth and La Feria downtown. And I'm sorry, not downtown, it's at the south side. But yeah, we have a lot of outreach events, and we continue to hire people within. We have a lot of temporary employees too that we bring in, internal staff. So I think total we have over 300 election workers.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we staff about 90 to 100 for early voting. We do close to 300 for election day, and 20 temps that we work internal at the warehouse and at the clerk's office.
And we bring even more on for just election day, right? We have all of those errands and things to transport, those busy 33 sites. Especially with a high volume election, we're always looking for people who can help us with our little to-do lists on election day. We have tons of them, and we need people who just have time for election day to help us out. You can apply online at our website. There's a Google form.
There is a Google form. We always encourage people to help us because there are last-minute fill-ins. We have vacancies and dropouts that are unexpected, health concerns or just emergencies that come up. And so we do also have a huge list of about 60 standby election workers just to dispatch on election day itself in case there are anyone who's unable to show up. So, yeah, it takes a village.
And life happens. So we need to have backup. Yeah,
exactly. So, we even make sure our polling staff feels supported. And hey, if you are extremely busy, you're feeling overwhelmed, your crowd is larger than expected, let us know. We'll dispatch somebody to you within the hour and just make sure that you feel that support.
What's the training like for them? I mean, I can't imagine training. How many people do you have? 300?
300, yeah, a little over 300. So Gabrielle Schultz, she is our training specialist, and she works diligently with her training assistants. She also has 2 assistants just to help her accomplish all of her tasks. And so election workers are required to attend a 4-hour training. In addition to that, they have to take an online training. It takes about an hour. But just to go over some online training that doesn't take away from the in-person training. So total, it's about 5 hours dedication prior to you working the polls.
Wow.
Can people, and you're saying that they can sign up now if they want to work election day, right? So that's just a half-day commitment. Go to the county clerk's website and you can volunteer this election.
Yes, absolutely. You can also, we do prefer that you apply online, but even if you just call the office, we can point you in the right way, get you in touch with our election worker outreach coordinator, and she'll get you signed up. So even county employees have helped us historically, and that's always really fun because they get to see what we do on the inside.
Yeah, and make sure to list your skills if you're interested, because we're always looking for computer skills, social media skills, can work in the field and help us with sign setups. One of the things we always hear more about is we can always have more signs. And I just feel like there's never going to be enough signs for certain voters, but that's what we're going to try. And so we always have a secondary team that comes and tries to and make sure we put up more signs because, in Santa Fe, we always have the wind. And the wind and the voting signs don't always get along. So.
Yeah, I think just for the primary, we went through about 20 feather banners at the Nancy Rodriguez and Edgewood. It's, really open space, lots of wind. So our feather banners were just snapping like crazy.
What keeps us up at night is, we want people to vote. We don't want people to feel like they can't vote. We always encourage people to vote early because we say save your place in line for someone who can only vote election day. You really are doing a community service when you vote early, so that makes sure that there isn't long lines on election day. And also your candidates want you to vote early so they can take you off your list and they'll stop texting you. And the other thing we could talk about is that, this year we've had a very busy election season, but we've also had a very busy award season. So you will see some of the things that we've won awards for, some of our stickers you'll see in the field. We have award-winning stickers that we've won an Election Assistance Commission or a Cleary Award. And we also had a tabulated security program that won an award. So, voters should feel really proud of Santa Fe County and that we are in the first in the nation for many of the things that we're doing. So, MIT has rated New Mexico as number 1 in election administration. And I always say since we won all these awards, we're number 1 in New Mexico. So Santa Fe is technically number 1 in the country. So Santa Fe should feel very, very proud. And if you, of course, have any issues at all, make sure you go to santafe.vote. Call us 505-986-6280 or email us at clerk@santafecountynm.gov.
Expanded early voting actually starts this Saturday. We will increase from 1 site to 10 sites total. You can go to the elections website to see polling dates and times. We are open Tuesdays through Saturdays for expanded early voting, and that'll go all the way until the November 5th election. So I believe the 19th through November 2nd is expanded early voting, and then we have 2 days of reconcile before we have the big day, election day on November 5th.
Awesome.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for being with us today, and may our constituents get out and vote. Thank you all so much.
Beyond county lines, your communities flow. Santa Fe County updates, everybody wants to know.